Welcome friends and welcome to my series of video lectures on design of steel structures. The topic of this video lecture is common steel structures. The expected learning outcome from this video lecture is enlist, draw and appreciate functioning of common steel structures such as towers, roof trusses, water tanks, bridges, gantry and crane girders, columns, chimneys and building frames. So let us have a quick glance at all the structures that we are going to see today. Towers, roof trusses, water tanks, bridges, gantry and crane girder systems, columns, chimneys and building frames made up of steel. So let us study the structure steel towers. A steel tower is a tall skeletal structure resting on ground to hold things high in air. Here we see a transmission tower and antenna tower. So the most common varieties of these steel towers are transmission towers, antenna towers and some special purpose towers. Transmission tower is a very common example and we see electrical cables of high tension electricity being carried by these steel towers. Now these antenna towers are more common in our day-to-day life than the transmission towers, and we see our TV antennas or different mobile receivers and so many different types of antennas resting on these antenna towers. So here we see a large variety of the antenna towers also. In this diagram, we see the components of a transmission tower. You will see that a transmission tower is having three basic components. First is tower base. Tower base is under the ground and you cannot see the foundation of the tower. It covers all the foundation of the tower. Second is tower body. This tower body is up to the waist of the tower. If you look at the shape of the tower, you can see that it can resemble a human figure or a human body having his hands raised. So the tower body is up to the waist of the tower. It consists of main legs. These two are the main legs. Then there is waist and there are diagonal and horizontal members. You can see these diagonal members means all these inclined members and horizontal members means all these horizontal members. So this total framework constitutes the tower body. Now we see the third part, last component, the tower top. So it extends above the waist and it is open to the sky. Now you can see a fork. This region of the tower will be called as fork. Then there is a beam. This horizontal portion is called as beam. It is looking like a truss beam. Then there are cross arms. You can see this cross arm projecting out of the beam. Now here you can see some material suspended here to hold the cables, electrical cables. Then there is a window. So these are all the four types of the four parts of this tower top. So here you get the tower top, the entire structure. So these are, you can say that the three major components of a transmission tower: tower base, tower body and tower top. So this is, in short, we can say the introduction of steel towers. The next steel structure is steel roof trusses. If you visit any MIDC area, you will see this structure very commonly. This is called an industrial shed. Now, steel roof trusses are related to this industrial shed. You can see these roof coverings, inclined roofs coverings. Now, inside these roof coverings, we get this type of steel framework. This type of steel framework is called a series of trusses. So a truss is a steel framework made up of triangles. A steel structure, these roof trusses, they are made up of steel angles. Also the steel towers in the earlier slide are made up of steel angle sections. Now here we see a complete typical steel roof truss system. If you look at these or the components of this system, you will find that this triangle is a truss, roof truss. It is having some inner geometry of its own. Now similarly at the end also there is one more truss, and in between that you are having this truss and this truss. So there are different trusses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trusses. The details of these intermediate trusses are not shown in the diagram in order to avoid congestion. But these are the same trusses as these first and last truss. So these are called the gable ends of the roof truss system. First and last truss, they come at the end. Now you can see these blue columns. All these are columns. So these all the roof trusses are supported on columns. You will find that at the end of every truss you get 2 columns. At the end of every truss you get 2 columns. Now if you look at the connection of these trusses with each other, you will see that all these 5 trusses are connected by these red members. These red members are horizontal beam-like members which are called as purlins. Purlin is a horizontal member connecting the trusses and supporting the roof covering. So on one side they are supporting the roof trusses, they are maintaining the position of the roof trusses, as well as from above they will be supporting the roof material such as the AC or GI sheets which are going to come on from the above, and they will be connected to the purlins through J bolts. So whatever roof coverings you see in this industrial shed diagram, they are not shown here in this diagram right now. They are to be assumed. So in this way we get in a complete roof truss system trusses, then purlins and roof coverings. So these are the 3 components. Now this truss frame which we saw here, this can have different internal geometry and different configuration of members. These are only some 3 examples shown. Common varieties of roof trusses are Fink truss, Fan truss, Hove truss, Pratt truss. All these names, Hove, Pratt, they are probably due to the names of the engineers who use those trusses. So many such varieties of roof trusses are also existing. You can have a greater look and on the Google and you can get the different types of trusses. Now if you look at the geometry of any single truss, it is made up of triangles. Whether it is this type or that type, that depends on the internal variation of geometry of the members. But outwardly if you look, these 2 outer slanting portions, they are called as rafters. They are called as rafters. Whereas the bottom straight line portion, it is called as tie. It is called as tie. Now these internal members, some of them are vertical, some of them are inclined. So they are called struts and slings. Struts are the members which are in compression and the slings are the members which are usually in tension due to downward loads. So you can see here trusses are made up of rafters, ties, slings and struts. So for any geometry you will get all these 4 components of a truss, single truss. So in this way we come across this roof truss system as an application in the industrial shed. The next steel structure is steel water tanks. We get steel water tanks in 2 varieties. First variety is ground resting steel water tank. or you can call it as ground service reservoir, in short GSR. It is not necessary that a steel tank should contain only water. It can contain other fluids also. It can be used to retain other liquids or fluids or fuels also. Usually you will get the GSRs in the industries, huge GSRs in the industries. The second variety of steel water tank is elevated service reservoir in steel or elevated steel water tank. That is a water tank which is elevated from ground, which means it is situated at a height from the ground. That height is for the advantage of making available a pressure head while distributing the water easily. So pumping of water is done from the ground to the water tank, but afterwards the distribution of water can be done by gravity. So energy is saved. Now for an elevated service reservoir, you will require two components. First component will be a beam column structure to raise the water tank to a certain height, to the desired height. So this is the first part, and the second part is the body of the water tank itself. So an elevated service reservoir tank or ESR is more difficult to construct, more difficult to maintain, and it has got the function of raising the water to a height and then making it available for distribution. So these are the two common varieties of steel water tanks, and this was all about the steel water tanks which we would like to know right now. Now we come to the next set of steel structures, that is steel bridges. Steel bridges are probably the most elegant and aesthetically beautiful structures constructed on the earth by man. Here we see two examples of world famous steel bridges. The first is Akashi Kaikyu Bridge in Japan, and the second is Golden Gate Bridge of San Francisco. Both of these bridges are constructed out of steel. There is a huge history of steel bridges in the world. A bridge is a structure built to span a physical obstacle such as a body of water like river or a valley or a road without closing the way underneath. The purpose of bridge is to provide passage over the obstacle using usually something that is otherwise difficult or impossible to cross. A bridge in general has four components: foundation, abutments, piers, and passways. There are 6 common types of bridges. We can see an example of each of them here. The 6 types of bridges are like this. The first type of bridge is called as the beam type bridge. If you look at this diagram, you can see the bridge passway consisting of consisting of beams. These beams may be of plate girder type, or they may be trussed beams, or any type of steel beams. So this is the first type of bridge you can have. These vertical column like components, they are supporting these beams, they are called as piers. So you can say piers are intermediate supports of the bridge which are inside that obstacle, which are resting inside the bottom of that obstacle, whether it is a river or a valley or whatever it is. So this was the first type. The second type of bridge, again an old variety, is an arch type bridge. You can see this curved surface, inner surface, that is what we call as arch. So this is the arch type of bridge. Here you can see the two abutments also clearly. Abutment is the end support of the bridge. Abutment, every bridge has got two abutments. Both of them are the end supports of the bridge. So bridge starts from an abutment and ends in the other abutment, and intermediately it is supported on the piers. So this is the second type of bridge. The third type of bridge is a truss bridge, truss type bridge. Here the bridge passway is made up of roof truss type truss framework. So this is the third type of bridge. The fourth is suspension bridge. A suspension bridge, where you can see this entire bridge as the Golden Gate Bridge as the example of suspension bridge shown here. Instead of piers, you are having pier towers. There are two abutments obviously at the ends. In between you are having tower-like piers. Now, from the two tower piers, huge steel cables are suspended, and the middle part of the bridge is supported on these cables by some vertical cables. So this type of bridge is called as suspension cable bridge. You can see this cable here. So these cables are suspension cables, and these vertical piers are pier towers. Next type of bridge is a cantilever type of bridge. A cantilever type of bridge has got an interesting construction. You can see the piers like this here. Now from each pier, a cantilever portion of bridge begins and it ends at the end here in between. You can see here. So from each pier on both the sides, you get cantilevers projecting out, and at the center they meet, but there is no support at the center. Just as a cantilever has got one end free and the other end fixed, these are cantilever types of bridges. The last type of bridge is cable stayed bridge. Cable stayed bridge. The name indicates that the bridge stays on cables. Now, in the cable stayed bridge also we are using steel cables just like the suspension bridge. But the cable is playing different role in the cable stayed bridge as compared to suspension bridge. You can see that the vertical pier tower is similar, but here the cables start from the tower like this at different levels, at different heights, and they hold the bridge base. So this is the difference between a cable stayed bridge and a suspension bridge. Both of them are using cables, but the way of using the cables to support the bridge are different for both the types of bridges. So these are broadly the 6 types of bridges: beam type, arch type, truss type, suspension type, cantilever type, and cable stayed type. So this was a brief overview of the steel bridges. The next steel structure is gantry and crane girder system. Now this is not an independent structure as such. It is a typical assembly of two types of steel girders which is usually found in the industrial floors. You can see this industrial floor here. An industrial floor is very long in its distance, in its dimensions, and very heavy material is used there for the working. Now look at this industrial floor diagram. Suppose that you want to lift this very heavy material from this position and you want to carry it somewhere else on the same floor at a long distance. What will you do? Since the material is very heavy to lift as well as to move, we take advantage of a system called as gantry and crane girders. Both of these girders are at an elevated height, at a height. You can see this yellow girder here. That girder is a crane girder. Why it is called crane girder? It is called crane girder because it is carrying a moving crane on it. A girder is a type of beam. A girder is a type of beam which is a heavy beam, and usually a steel beam is called a steel girder. Now this crane girder, you can see the same diagram here. This is the real life picture, whereas this is the diagrammatized system. So you can see this crane girder. This is the roof truss. This is the industrial shed, and you are having this crane girder. On this crane girder, you can see this trolley or crab, or it is the crane. It is also called trolley or crab. It contains the crane. Now you can see a suspended hook here. So using this crane, you can lift the material you want to lift. So you will have to bring the crane here now, and if you want to lift this particular material, bring this crane here and hook the material to the crane and lift the material using the crane. This is step 1. Then what you have to do, now you want to transport this material to some other distant point on the same shop floor. So what will you do? You will move this entire crane girder. How to move this crane girder? For that we will have to see how the crane girder is supported. You can see that at the end of this crane girder, you are having 2 supports. Here you get column, this blue colored column. On the column there is a bracket. You can see this bracket, or for a better picture you can see it here also. This is the column. A column, steel column, is also called as stanchion. S-T-A-N-C-H-I-O-N, stanchion. So this is the steel column. Here you get this bracket, which is shown here also. On this bracket you get another steel beam or another girder. This girder is seen in its cross section here. It is also seen here like this in the black color. Now this girder is called as gantry girder. This girder is running perpendicular to the plane of this picture, or it is running perpendicular to this crane girder also. At the top of that gantry girder you get a rail, eye-like steel section. Now on that rail this crane girder is resting. So this crane girder is supported on this gantry girder through this rail. What is the purpose of providing a rail? The purpose of the rail is to allow this gantry girder to slide over this gantry girder. So crane girder will slide over the gantry girder through these rails. Same is the geometry at the other end. So a crane girder is supported at its ends, both the ends, by 2 gantry girders. You can see the label gantry girders here. The geometry of a gantry girder is seen clearly in this zoomed section. How can you see the geometry of the gantry girder? You can see a packing here. On the bracket there is a packing. Above the packing is resting the gantry girder. This gantry girder is made up of 2 sections. One is eye section and the other is a channel section, which is placed horizontally. Can you see here? So an eye section, and at the top of it you are having a channel section. So this is a composite section of eye and channel shape. Above the channel and eye section, that is the gantry girder section, a rail is placed, and on the rail the crane girder is resting. So these gantry girders, this gantry girder will continue like this. In this diagram you can see it will continue throughout the length of the shop floor on both the sides, and it will be that gantry girder will be supported on columns and column blocks. So now you can understand how this crane and gantry girder system will work. So you have lifted this particular heavy weight here by using the crane. You have locked that crane on the crane girder, so that while moving, when you are moving the crane girder, this crane will not slide in between. Now you will move this crane girder entirely over the 2 gantry girders, over the rails, and you will take this crane girder to a position where you want to release that load which you have lifted at a different point, and you will lock that crane girder on the gantry girder, and you will unlock the crane and you will move the crane on the crane girder wherever you want to locate it. So you lock it again and release the hook and release the load where you want to put it finally. So in this way, this crane and gantry girder system is very essential component of any industrial floor in any industrial shed, and this is how the system works, and you can carry heavy loads from one point to the other with ease. So this was an example of another steel structure, gantry and crane girders. If possible, you can visit any industrial shed and get a good video of this system so that you can get a better picture also. The next steel structure is a steel column. A column is not a structure as a whole, but it is a part of the structure. It plays very important role in the structure. That is why we are treating here it as a separate steel structure, steel column. We know that a column is a long vertical component of structure supporting beams. So here we see a steel framework. This is a trussed framework or a framework made up of steel angles like this. Or here we see another example where it is made up of I-beams, horizontal I-beams and vertical steel columns. So these are the steel columns, vertical components supporting the beams. Now, many times because the load coming on the column is very high, you may have some different combinations of sectional shapes. Here you get an I section, here you get a combination of I sections, here you get a box type section, here you get one I section, the another I section, here you get another type of combination. The first three types are symmetrical steel cross sections. These are symmetrical, whereas in the bottom two you get unsymmetrical column cross sections. In all these five cases, you are having column sections which are not made up of a single standard section, but it's a combination of different standard sections, and that is why we call these as composite columns. So types of concrete encased steel composite column sections. On the outside you see a rectangle for every section. That outside rectangle indicates concrete encasement. That means the steel column is inside, but it is encased or covered by concrete from outside. So these are a few varieties of steel columns. Friends, the next common steel structure is a steel chimney. All of us are familiar with this picture. Industries produce some harmful gases, and those gases are required to be released at a height in the atmosphere so that they don't affect the life around. So we use the structure called a chimney for this purpose. A steel chimney is a tall, hollow, slender and tapering cylindrical steel structure. The purpose is to release exhaust gases from industry at a safe height in atmosphere. So this way we can define a chimney and we can state its function. Now the chimneys are of two types. We are discussing only steel chimneys right now. Chimneys can be made up of RCC or made up of the brick masonry also. The types of steel chimneys are: one, self-supporting chimney, and second is guide chimney. The self-supporting chimneys are the chimneys which resist all the loads coming on them by themselves. They don't take help of any external extra components. These self-supporting chimneys are used up to 10 meters diameter and up to a height of 50 to 100 meters. The guide chimneys are used for still higher chimneys or still bigger heights, and on the peripheries of these chimneys we are having some mild steel support ropes which are called as guys. These are the ropes, or these are the members which assist the chimneys for the sharing of load. Here we can see an example of self-supporting steel chimney. In this picture, you can see that a huge self-supporting chimney is being transported from by the railway train. And here you see this chimney erected in the form of a diagram. So the chimneys you see in this picture are also of the self-supporting type steel chimneys. So the next type, as we said, is a guide chimney. The guy is a mild steel support rope. You can see this chimney. We can see this type of chimneys also commonly. You can see that to this chimney, you can see these mild steel cables attached, and these mild steel cables are pulling the chimneys in their directions. So these are the guys. These cables are called as guys, and the chimneys are therefore called as guide steel chimneys. Now these guys can be at one level or they can be at different levels also for the same chimney. So here we see the diagram of a chimney which is having guys at two levels, at this level and at this level, whereas this chimney is having guys only at one level. Now at one level also, the two guys are seen here. Actually, from all other directions, if you imagine, there are about 3 to 6 wires or guys at every level. So this is a guide steel chimney having sets of 3 to 6 wires at each level. There is only one level here. There are two levels here. So these are the examples of guide steel chimneys. In this way, we can summarize the chimneys as they are made up of two, they can be of two types, self-supporting and guide chimneys, and both of them are in use in the industry. So this was a brief introduction of steel chimneys. Friends, now we come to the last common steel structure in this presentation. That is steel building frames. Most of us know that nowadays we are constructing tall buildings or skyscraper buildings. That is usually the buildings which are having more than 25 to 30 meters of height. These buildings, for these buildings, it is not economical and it is not feasible also to have only reinforced cement concrete as the construction material. Here we have to take help of steel for its strength and for its high strength and weight ratio. These two advantages of steel make it compulsory for its use in the skyscraper type of buildings or the high-rise buildings. So what is done in such case of buildings? These buildings will look from outside as concrete buildings only, but from inside these buildings are made up of steel building frames. So steel building frames, that is why, become an internal part or the skeletal part of the sky-rise or high-rise buildings. So here we see a huge building, world first steel framed skyscraper. So you can look at this building. This building from outside looks like a normal RCC building, but inside it is having steel frame. This is another building, common building or a common example of a steel tall skyscraper building in which we are having steel building frames. In this third picture, we see steel skeleton. All this entire skeleton, actually these buildings from inside they are like this. The skeleton is being constructed by huge tower and cranes, and this is the steel skeleton under construction of a high-rise building. So these steel building frames are used, and that construction is called as composite construction between RCC and steel, and you are having steel framework, steel skeleton encased in the concrete. So this is one more common example of the steel structure, that is steel building frames. Coming to the end of this video lecture, we have a self-test now. There are 4 questions. The first question is enlist and draw diagrams showing common steel structures. This is a remembering level question. Second is state components of a steel structure roof truss system. This is also a remembering level question. Third, state working of gantry crane girder system. This is an understanding level question. And the fourth question is state common types of steel bridges and illustrate them with diagrams. This is also a remembering level question. So pause the video here, write down on a paper the answers of these questions by recollecting whatever you have watched right now. And now we come to the last slide of the presentation, summing up. Friends, we started with expecting a learning outcome from this video as to enlist, draw and appreciate 6 types of common steel structures. We also came across so many key terms and keywords. So it is expected that you can answer the questions in the video, and also you can enlist, draw and appreciate the functioning of these 6 common steel structures. If that is achieved, we can say that the learning outcome of this video has been attained. You have to contact your teacher for any doubts or queries. A summative assessment quiz will be given to you by the teacher in the Google quiz form. So you have to solve that quiz also to evaluate whether you have understood. Otherwise, you have to repeat the watching of this video, and also you have to contact your teacher for that. So I wish you all the best for this exercise. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Thank you.